Reaver dude says, have you caught anyone having sex in the house?
Oh, gosh.
But wait, hold on.
Please
I was
say
born
no.
I was born and raised in San Jose, by the way. I went on a few tours there when I was a kid. To be honest, I found them to be pretty boring and not scary at all.
Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name's Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. Before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report to your local police and sheriff department.
San Jose, California. The motherland of California. Here sits a mystery, a haunted mansion. Located at 525 Winchester Boulevard, the Winchester Mansion has many mysteries surrounding it. Many have come from far and near to experience the oddness. Today, we will be uncovering the mystery of the Winchester Mansion.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, some background history of the Winchester house. So, Sarah Winchester was born as Sarah Lockwood Party in New Haven, Connecticut. Her nickname was Sally, and she was called Sally after her paternal grandmother. Unfortunately, we do not know much about Sarah's childhood. And then September 30th, 1862, Sarah wedded William Wirt Winchester. William was the son of Oliver Winchester. Oliver is the owner of Winchester Repeating Arms Company, who sells the famous Winchester rifles. And then Sarah and William had one daughter together. Her name was Annie Party Winchester. Annie was born on June 15th, 1866. She died 10 days later due to marasmus. Marasmus is a form of severe Marasmus is a form of severe malnutrition categorized by energy deficiency, and it can be caused by many things, including poverty, ammonia, malaria, and meningitis. I hated the meningitis shot.
But you gotta have them.
Yeah.
They're worth it. 1881, Sarah lost her mother, father-in-law, and her husband William, who died of tuberculosis. Sarah was left with the $20 million inheritance, which is equal to $394,117 billion. Oh no, that's million. Basically $600 million in today's economy and ownership and half of the arms company.
And that would buy you 6 houses today.
Bro, I could buy all kinds of shit, dude. She was considered one of the most wealthiest women in the United States at the time. 1886, Sarah purchased a small 2-story farmhouse and ranch in San Jose, California. The property was called La Nada Villa, which is now known as the Winchester Mystery House. 1888, Sarah purchased 140 acres of land, the majority of what is now downtown Los Altos, California. She also purchased a farmhouse, now known as the Winchester Merriman House, for her sister and brother-in-law. In the 1920s, Sarah also maintained a houseboat on San Francisco Bay at Burlingame, California. This place is known as the Ark and was destroyed by fire in 1929.
Yep, California's always on fire.
Yup, they are though.
1922 at 10:45 p.m., Sarah Winchester died at La Nada Villa. Her cause of death was heart failure, and a funeral service was held in Palo Alto, California. Her remains laid at Alta Mesa Cemetery. Later on, her remains would be transferred to New Haven, Connecticut, where she would be buried along with her sister next to her husband and their infant child in Evergreen Cemetery. But, not great for Sarah to die, but it is great that her wealth was given to charity, and the belongings in her house went to her niece, Marion Marot. The Winchester house was turned into an attraction for the public in February 1923.
So the house itself, the Winchester house, went from a 2-story farmhouse into a 7-story home, which is big, my guy.
That is huge.
This was due to a psychic telling her the ghost demanded for it to be built a certain way in order to keep them at peace. It contained 160 rooms, each one more odd than the next. Sarah's intent was to expand her house so that her remaining family members could also live with her. But, however, Sarah wasn't happy with any architects that she met, which led to her designing the house herself. Which is always a disaster when people do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
like,
get a professional.
Please. Inside the house contained 3 elevators, 47 fireplaces, 6 kitchens, 13 bathrooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 staircases, closets that opened to blank walls, trapdoors, double back hallways, skylights that were located one above another, doors that opened to steep drops to the lawn, and all stair posts were installed upside down. A room, later nicknamed the Witch's Cap, was built in the shape of a witch's hat, oddly enough. And it's very creepy and it's very haunted.
Yeah.
Sarah was intrigued by the number 13, considering every small detail, such as windows, contained 13 of everything like window panes, etc.
She must have liked Friday the 13th.
Oh no, ski. No.
So in 1906, the Great San Francisco earthquake struck and almost turned this mansion into dust. The top 3 floors had collapsed into the garden, and the fireplace in the daisy collapsed. Sarah was so paranoid by this, taking this as a sign that the spirits were angry with her, that she nearly had to complete her house. She decided to board up the front 30 rooms of the mansion to ensure construction would never be complete. After this, several chimneys were installed all over the house, but they served no actual real purpose.
It's weird. Why would you install chimneys?
Right, and also, like, I heard, like, she had staircases leading up to the ceiling. Like, who does that?
Yeah, there was also staircases that led to nowhere.
Yeah, it makes no sense. This is why you get professional help, people.
Yeah, and don't take the word of a psychic, my guy.
No.
Sorry. Like, most of them are pretty shady and fake anyways.
Right, they're just after the money.
Yeah, they really are though. But the mystery that surrounds this place, of course, like any famous haunted place, there are many stories that surround this very oddly built house. Now, there's only a couple that are like really specifically known. Like, there's an apparition with black hair that is frequently spotted pushing a wheelbarrow in the Hall of Fires, which is where all the fireplaces are, which is very odd.
That is odd.
Like,
and it's always, the ghost always has to have long black hair.
Very true. Just imagine you're walking down a hallway, you just see a wheelbarrow just pushing itself. Hell no, I'm out.
Peace out.
And then a worker was on a ladder one day and felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned around and no one was there. He went back to his task when he felt a hand press against his back. He was still the only one in that room though. Creepy.
That's creepy.
And the most creepy one that I've found so far was a tour guide gathered participants in Mrs. Winchester's room to explain history and point out the objects in the room. The guide heard a loud sigh in the hallway and went outside to bring the straggler in the room, only to see a small, ghostly form gliding around the corner. And then they heard another sigh after that, too.
It was like, peekaboo, bitch.
Yeah. There's also unknown figures that are spotted in the windows very often, especially at the very front of the house, that are seen looking down at people, especially as they walk in the front door. I know many people have, like, caught pictures, like, standing in front of the house with, like, you just see a pair of eyes coming out the window, which is freaking creepy.
That is creepy. creepy. And I definitely heard, like, the most haunted place, like, most haunted room in there is actually Sarah's bedroom, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I know, like, it was maybe 50, 60 years after, like, she had died, and they, like, opened the house when they actually found her room because it was blocked off.
Well, and, like,
Because,
there's, like,
all that stuff.
160 rooms, so
Yeah,
it
they're
would take
just...
them some time.
They're still discovering more rooms in the house, too.
Right, and I imagine, like, the person that was, like, assigned to, like, map out the place, like, that was amazing that they were able to actually map all that out. I know I wouldn't be able to.
No, that's too much work for me. I don't know how I feel about that, fam.
Right. Now into some Reddit comments, because we love Reddit comments. The first forum is, I am a tour guide at the Winchester Mystery House, a popular haunted house in San Jose, California, built by the eccentric widow of the president of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, Ma. So, Truly Outrageous 89 says, hello, I am Sue from San Jose. My friend once convinced me to apply as a tour guide. Not sure why. I'm terrified of ghosts. The one time I was kind of glad I never got a call back to work there. I don't handle haunted houses very well. I think my favorite part is that gorgeous window paned glass. I can't remember what it is, possibly flowers, but she had put it in so when the sun shined through it would look pretty and colorful. Except she built it in the wrong direction so the light never comes through it. Also, I don't know how you handle it in the winter. Went once during February and it was freezing in that house.
Damn.
I definitely could not be a tour guide there.
No thank you, I'm good. Pierogi Sand Kung Fu said,
Ooh,
what's
I
the
like
craziest... Yeah, what's the craziest, scariest moment you've had in the house? Anything weird or unexplained? The original poster replied, the creepiest moment I've had in the house was once when I was leading a tour. There was this one door that kept opening and closing. I knew it wasn't the fan because it was pointing away from the door and it wasn't moving. I knew there wasn't anyone on the other side of the door because we don't often send people into that part of the house to clean, and that's always on a Wednesday. This was a Tuesday. It couldn't have just been a breeze because that door led to another part of the house that was inside and there were no open windows in the rooms on either side of the door. Still don't know what it was. Also, to add to the creepiness, the room that was on the other side of the door was the same room that Mrs. Winchester passed away in. I'll leave you for that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's probably her. She's like, hello, how's it going?
Yeah.
Say hey.
He's like, what's up?
Yeah,
Wanna
right.
hang out?
And then Sunny Dolphin. Any strange but true facts most people wouldn't know just from reading about it. OP says, well, it depends on where you've read, but there was a lot of stuff in the additional information packet they gave us, which I hadn't actually known. For instance, she had a pet dog named Zip. Aww.
Oh, that's a
who's
cute
a
name.
very adorable long-haired mutt that would run about the house. She also had an array full of tropical birds. Also, fun fact about the house itself is that in a lot of the drawers and stuff, there are notes left by tour guides for future tour guides to see. I have yet to stumble across one, but every time I go back in the house, I look in all the drawers behind all the doors in the hopes I can find one. Probably my favorite little known fact was that she had a nephew who made the long train ride to see his dear Aunt Sarah. Well, she saw straight through the ploy and had a house servant meet him at the door with a chick. He never made it into the house. Damn. Okay.
So Sunny Dolphin again says, gonna ask more questions because I'm Australian, can't get to this place and have read a lot about it. Have you ever seen anything creepy there? What's your funniest, strangest experience that happened while leading the tours? So the original poster, they say, I've answered the first question above, and actually the funniest thing that's happened to me while in the house was when I was cleaning. So when we were in the house while cleaning, we have to keep the tours from seeing us. I was in the room next to the oriental bedroom and a tour came in to the oriental bedroom, so I found a nook and hid. All was well and good until I decided to peek out from where I was hiding. Someone saw me, and even though I dug back, She caught her mom's attention and was whispering that someone was in the next room. A few minutes later, right after the tour guide finished talking, I peeked out again. And again, this girl saw me, but I ducked back before she could point me out to her mom. I don't want to get caught and have to awkwardly explain myself, so I stay back for what I think is long enough time for everyone to leave the room. Well, nope. They stay back as well, and when I finally peeked out, her mom goes, "What are you doing?" in a tone that would be used with a little kid. Turns out she saw my uniform, she assumed I was a kid, and that I had been separated from the group and was playing hide and seek in the house. It was simultaneously hilarious and awkward. That's kind of funny.
This person, Reaver Dude, says, "Have you caught anyone having sex in the house?"
Oh gosh.
But wait, hold on.
Please
I was
say
born
no.
I was born and raised in San Jose, by the way. I went on a few tours there when I was a kid. To be honest, I found them to be pretty boring and not scary at all. OP says, "I've answered this question, but I haven't caught anyone. Though I'm surprised by just how many stories I've heard of other tour guides catching people. And yeah, the tour isn't meant to be scary. I can see how a kid would be bored. I encourage you to go back now that you're older." And then this person, so turned on,
Of
says,
course.
"Have guests tried to ramp up the experience, aside from sneaking off and having sex, by conducting impromptu seances and some such?" OP says, "If they have, I haven't seen it, partly because the seance room is so small, there's literally no place to hide, and I'm busy talking practically the entire time we're in there, then no one has ever tried to conduct a seance. There are plenty of people that make sure to open all the doors and press all the buttons, though." That's funny.
That is funny.
Modus OP lies. "The house has a really eerie feel to it the moment you step in it. Didn't the widow only allow Harry Houdini to have full access to the house to communicate with the spirits?" OP said, "Harry Houdini toured the mansion in 1924, 2 years after Mrs. Winchester passed away. She never allowed anyone in her house other than her servants and her niece. She even denied entrance to President Teddy Roosevelt. And she was the only one that was allowed in her seance room."
Dang,
RIP.
She's like, nope. Nobody,
Yeah.
but that's funny that she let Houdini in there.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Houdini was very popular, though, so,
He
you
was.
know.
And then
Very
he
popular.
went abracadabra, disappeared.
He did, though. He really did, though. So, this Reddit post is called Sarah Winchester and the Winchester Mystery House Opinions. They posted, "What do you believe the true story is? What's fact and what's fake? Have you had an experience? Who was Sarah Winchester as a person?" Scott Sierra says, "I do believe the story as it stands is true. After the sudden premature death of some family members, she sought solace in spirit mediums. One of them told her the victims of a Winchester repeating rifle were after her, that she must follow the sun and build a house there for the spirits, and that as long as she kept building, her life would not end prematurely. Certainly, she did have a house built. She kept the building going continuously to the point of demolishing parts and rebuilding them, and the confusion sections were, to her mind, intended to confuse the spirits. She was also, it's evident from the house's layout, suspicious of her staff. She had methods of spying on them and listening to them? That's weird. I don't know.
That is weird.
As far as I know, she did really hold some sort of thing every night at the same time, though what this was is not known. Seance is a good term, though. Whether spirits were actually involved is anyone's guess, as with anything involving the paranormal, the jury's still out. Most of the tours don't suggest that the house is haunted. It only seems to come up when the purpose of the specific tour is spooky. So it looks like there's a lot of non-believers. Interesting.
I feel like even if it's not haunted, it's still kind of creepy.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Bee Stingers says, "I toured the Winchester house 2 years ago and was really surprised by how uncreepy it was. We were in a day tour, that's probably why, and they barely even mentioned anything paranormal. There was a lot of focus on the history and the different construction elements of the building. Also, it feels sort of small, even though it has a lot of rooms. The rooms are all average size with normal ceilings. My personal take on the house, does not have anything supernatural going on at all, and she was eccentric due to PTSD from a life of personal tragedy."
I mean, she had a lot of tragic things happen.
Yeah, but that was normal back then, you know? Like,
Right.
it was 1800s, 1900s,
That's
so
true.
there was a lot of death. Tuberculosis?
Right,
Yeah.
well, she lost her only child.
Yeah, she did. But, I mean, the medicine technology is way different than it is like today.
That is true.
So, yeah.
So the next one I linked on there, which I'm going to put in the description below, a link to it so you guys can see this 3-second image capture. So this is a Winchester mystery house, 3-second image capture, no windows or air vents in the hallway, and no reflective surfaces. What is this?
Yeah, that, I don't know. I
That
feel
is
like it could
creepy.
be, it's weird.
Definitely weird. Are you watching the video?
Yeah, I've seen it several times.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The Bleeding Octopus. What kind of name is that?
Oh.
They said, I just went today and had such an amazing time. I didn't find it a tourist trap at all. It was very informative, guided history tour. The only tourist thing was the gift shop. It was very similar to any other historic home/historic site tour. They didn't talk about supernatural things at all unless specifically asked. Everything was just information based on records. I found it very fun to see the architecture and amazing details like the tile work and stained glass windows.
Bruh, this person, Monolithic Eric, it's a collection of bugs farting out dust in unison.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so funny. I like that.
It is fun.
Musashi 003. Been there with my wife for a morning tour, and despite the daylight and the amount of tourists with us, there's a really heavy feeling all throughout the place. It might just be disorienting given the architecture, but I may be wrong. I don't know, I feel like it's definitely like, it's got that kind of vibe for sure.
For sure.
Jude 115 full. I've been in there once when I was about 14 and the tour guide left the room. And I was the last one in the room. The door behind us slammed shut and no windows were open or anything like that. And that could have been paranormal, maybe not. Still scared the shit out of me.
Right, I found one. They're God H8 flags. Okay.
Yeah.
They say this is now the 4th time this house has come up in my life in the last 4 days. Really weird. I don't know why Reddit decided this video belonged on my homepage more than 80 days after it was originally posted. I've visited, but it's been 3+ years. While there for a tour, I thought it was so cool and interesting that they had so many people in the kitchen and the hallway from it to the courtyard, all busy working in period costumes. What? I could see them from the hallway that leads them to study. It's above the hallway from the kitchen to the courtyard, and they could see me. I made friendly eye contact with a woman carrying a silver tea set, and she smiled, nodded, and carried on. Felt normal. I didn't think too much of it. I was at the back of the tour, so I didn't really taking my time to admire woodwork and details of the house. Kept falling a bit behind, and my friend kept splitting from her mom to tell me to come on. So I didn't have anyone mention it to, and figured it'd be our last stop. We got to the end talking about Tiffany glass, and then we were led to the gift shop. I mentioned this to my friend and her mom when we got through the gift shop into the car. We were talking about the house. At first they reacted like I was fucking with them. Then they told me I was crazy and there weren't people in costumes there. I still don't know if they were actually fucking with me. Interesting. That's the first time I heard that.
Head pollution 70-80. That's a ghost, buddy.
AV Moog is definitely a goal. Oh my god, somebody's name is Angus Noodle. They said that's a ghost, bro.
Go find it outside. A guest sport soul leaving their body to make an early exit. But all kidding aside, pretty neat catch. That's a ghost. You can see the ghost walk.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a white floaty thing.
I still can't get over the thing about the bugs farting.
Yeah.
That was too good.
That was funny.
They came all together and decided to fart. This one says, awake and happy. As a native of San Jose, I was surprised I never went to Winchester until just a few years ago. After a few minutes of being inside during the tour, I felt dizzy and nauseous and extremely cold. Now that I am familiar with paranormal presence, I think I brought some home a few years back. I most definitely think that is a spirit captured on video. To this day. Winchester remains a very active and popular attraction in San Jose, California. It is so popular that Disney even made a movie based on the mansion spookiness called Haunted Mansion. Of course, you can watch that on Disney Plus anytime. But thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open because you never know when Sarah Winchester will come for you.
Yep, she's right there.
Yeah, she's gonna poke your butthole.